Hey guys, it is Carl Brown for GuitarLessons365.com. Today we're going to take a look at Jamie's Cryin by Van Halen. So we are tuned down a half step, as Van Halen does a lot. So I'll have those notes if you don't know what those are. Just E flat tuning, every string down a half step. Alright, so then you can play along with this and the original recording. So let's start here. Now, this intro, it's a couple different, there's a rhythm guitar part and kind of a doubled lead. Now let's take a look first here at this, the rhythm. All right, so we're gonna start with just the low E string palm muted, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then you have this little 7, 6, 5 on the low E, down to 3 on the G string. I mean, on the G. No, it's on the same string, low E string. So we have this. All right, and now he starts adding it a little bit more. All right, so that's just hit the low E, and then you're going to grab the 3rd fret across the G, B, and high E, back to a couple of muted low E string, and then you have this chord, which you use mostly during the chorus here. This is the 5th fret on the A, open D string, then the 4th fret on the B string, I mean, it's the P note, 4th fret on the G, and then the open B. Look at this. Then that same little little run there on the low E string, and then the same thing again. All right, so let's talk about what's going on in the lead guitar part. Now, this is not a unison bend. This is 2 guitars being tracked at the same time, and for the most part, they're doing the same thing. There's just a little variation that happens. So let's start with the main one. It looks like this. All right, now he's doing a lot of vibrato and usually using the vibrato bar to do that. So he'll be... All right, so that's a half step bend at the 18th fret on the G string. Let it ring. And then a whole step bend at the 19th fret. And then you're going to come back to the 16th fret, whole step bend, then take it without a bend. So we have this. All right, now we're going to do this part, which is there's another guitar that he's playing. He's just double tracking this exact same notes. And here is where they deviate. The main one that you probably hear is this one. So that's just that half step bend at the 18th fret again. Then release 16 now on the G. And go down to 14. It's a quick little, you might be kind of doing it with the left hand, but also kind of pulling the bar up a little bit to get to this next. Then pick that note again, then down to 13, and then do a bar dive. So altogether, that main melody. Now along that, there's another guitar that does this, and see if you can see where there's a variation. So it basically, that line, if you listen closer to the recording, there's another guitar that holds that bend, while the other one goes. And then they both meet back here again at the bend of the 14th fret. All right, so a little attention to detail there, and it really makes it. If you have two guitar players, it sounds really good. Actually, three, because you have somebody playing the rhythm as well. All right, now let's start with the actual verse, which is very similar to what we did earlier. It looks like this. All right, so there's a little transition that it's going to go into there in a second. Now, before we get into this too far, I highly recommend finding on YouTube, there's the isolated guitar track for this recording. And it really helps you hear all these lines that like the little harmony parts and stuff that might not stick out as much with all the other instruments around. So it's really fun to listen to. So right here, you can hear the low E. So we had the low E, and then do that same thing that we did earlier. And now we're going to have a combination of, he's basically playing the D chord. Now he'll play the 7 on the D and the G together. And sometimes he'll add the B string. Or sometimes it'll just be these two notes, the G and the B together. So there's the variation. It's just kind of, he just kind of randomly goes through. Hold that, and now we do this. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm playing the 7th fret on the G, and then the 5th fret on the B, and then I have the high E. So I hit the G string first, and then I come up and start hitting the top 2 strings of it. So I have this. Up which 2 notes you play there. Now the 4th time through, which is pretty much the pre-chorus. So we had that same beginning, that same chord that we looked at earlier, and then we have the little descending lick. Going to change a little bit. 7, 6, 5, 4, 2, then 0, 4, 2 on the A string, then 0, 4 on the D string into the A power chords. We have this. That again, 3 times up to the B power chord. Try this. Now the chorus is a variation of that verse riff. It looks like this. All right, so that's just that same beginning. And then same riff. Except here we always do this. Kind of the second time. It's just a bend there. Quick bend at the 7th fret on the A string. Back to the 5th. And then same riff and repeat. So we're back to the verse. All right, so we do that, and now coming out of the verse the second time, we're going into this riff which uses a lot of thirds going up. It's kind of hard to say what the kind of, it could be a pre-chorus or whatever, but it sounds like this. chorus. So that's a cool one. Now, obviously, I'm not kind of really going for the guitar tone here. He's got his typical tone that he had back in the day with the effects on it, the phasers or whatever. So I'm not really, don't have that on the settings here right now. But it's the open A string. First of all, let's take a look at the chords, because it's always going to be the open A, open B, and open E. So the strings in between it here, you're going to be playing the notes on the D and the G. So it's a 7 on the D, 6 on the G. Then move up 9 on the D to 7 on the G. Now move it down to 5 on the D, 4 on the G. And then back up to 7 on the D, 6 on the G. So we have this. While you're doing that, you're going to hit, first of all, with the A string, and then you're going to start arpeggiating across the open B and high E string. So it's now we're going to do that exact same thing. After we've done that twice, we're going to go to these chords. So that's 9 on the G, 11 on the D, then the 12 on the D, 11 on the G. Now 9 on the D, 7 on the G, and then back up to that first chord again. Try this. And repeat that. So once again, with all the open strings. So arpeggiating those top 2 strings. All right, so you put that all together. Back to the same chorus. Now the chorus riffs will not always be the exact same. Sometimes they'll play the riff twice. And go right into the pre-chorus. And then start back over with the same thing. And he doesn't always do that. But it's always either that or the chord. But the chord and then the next time through with the little lick, but sometimes he'll just play at the end of the ending chorus. I think he just does the chord two times in a row there. All right, so let's see what else we have here. Now we have the bridge section. Now leading into the bridge, we have. Takes us into the solo. All right, so you got to really kind of roll the volume down a little bit here. That's how Eddie Van Halen does a lot of clean to dirty. He just kind of rolls the volume off a little bit. So we're here at the C sharp minor chord. So we're going to pick starting. We have the 4th fret bar here. 6 on the D, 6 on the G, 5 on the B. So start from the 5th string and pick across. Then pick up the 2nd string, 2nd finger, sorry. And then pick the 4th fret there that you're holding with the bar on the B string, and then down to the G. Now we're going to do that same maneuver here up at the 5th fret, but with a major chord instead of minor. So we have to hold it like this. So that's 7th fret across the G, D, and the B. Same kind of let go of the note, and then back down to the C sharp minor chord. Same little maneuver, and then. So what's going on there? You start holding an F. Now he doesn't. If you're gonna hear it, you want it to be an F sharp major chord. It's just, but what he does is he holds that full bar here to 6th fret, and then he just picks across the low E string, A and the D, and then gets to this little, which is just, you're hitting the 2nd fret there on the B and the high E together, and then kill it, and then go over and have the 2nd fret on the B, but now the open high E, and kill that, and then back to the previous chord. And then back to the C sharp minor. And then it goes up to the D, and you can just hold the D like this, because he just lets it ring, and then up to the, he brings the volume back up into an E major chord with a low E in it. And he has this little like, or probably plays like that, which is just pulling off. You can pull off like that if you want. Just pull off 9 to 10. I mean, sorry, 10 to 9 on the B, over to 9 on the G, 9 on the B. All right, then we get to the actual guitar solo. So let me play through it real quick, and then I'll take a look at it phrase by phrase for you. So here we go. To that kind of little pre-chorus section. All right, so this is a pretty fun one. So it's low E open. So low E open, then 7th on the A, back to low E open, and then you do the bend at the 7th fret, kill it, down to the 5th fret. So wait. Then we're going to go down to the 3-4 on the low E string, muted. And then you're going to hit the top 2 strings, the B and the high E, twice. And then back to the, so wait. And then back to the muted 3-4. So let's do that. Repeat. Then the low E open. Now that's just 9 on the little double stop at the G and the B string. Then pick it again. Little slight bend downwards. Down to the double stop. Same G and B string on the 7th fret. And then he does this. He goes 5, 6, 7, and he bends it up with the bar and the fingers at the same time. So kind of slide. And back to the same double stop. So we do this. And then that same section we did before. All right, now it's just the same sections that we saw before, except now we had this outro solo, which is a little bit extended. Once again, it's 2 guitar players kind of doubling one another. Part of it is just doubling, and part of it is a harmony part. So, so the first 2 times through the phrase, it's something that we haven't heard before, and then it's the same as the intro of the song. So let's take a look here. We're going to start here. I'll play through the new melody here with us. All right, so I just played, that's going to start here with a bend at the 19th fret on the G string. We're just using the vibrato bar. And then that's a bend at the 16th fret on the G. Over to the 17th fret on the B string. and then back to the bend and release at the 16th fret. For this. Now bend that again, release, let it ring, then to 14, and then that same kind of ending that we did in the intro with a bar dot. Alright, so that's one of the guitar parts. And the second time through, you have the other guitar player, the other guitar line is doing the same thing, but he does a harmony for the second half. So it looks like this. Alright, so that's the same, starting with the bend up here. So here's where it's going to deviate. So this is the second time of going through the melody, you're going to hear a harmony. The first time through, he just matches it. It's just two guitar parts doing the exact same thing. Now the harmony part starts here. After that note, we come down to the 13th fret. This is when the other one's going this. You're going to come down here instead, and the other guitar part, 13th fret, half step in, release, 11, and then quick bend there again, pick it again, down to 9. Alright, so after going through that 2 times, we go back to the exact same thing that happened at the beginning of the song. And the exact same kind of harmony part when we get to this section. So it's played just like the intro there, so there's nothing really new to learn there. Alright, so it's I know if you're going to need a couple guitar players there to play all those harmony parts, or you can just pick the one you like. There's obviously a main, and you don't need all the other stuff with it. It can still sound great like Eddie would play it live. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.